When the grid goes down, life as we know it changes fast. Think back to the 2003 Northeast blackout, or the 2021 Texas freeze, millions left in the dark, and a clear pattern emerges. Day 1, it's almost fun, an unexpected adventure. Day 2, reality sets in. Phones die, food spoils, and anxiety creeps in. By day 3, desperation takes over. Good people, your neighbors, your friends, can become threats when their kids are hungry. Your stocked pantry, or the hum of your generator. It's a beacon, and in a real blackout, that makes you a target. Experts like NERC and the Department of Energy are warning us, blackouts are coming, and they'll last longer than ever. So today, we're breaking down 10 everyday items you'll need to protect, and the OPSEC strategies to keep them hidden. Because survival isn't about stockpiles, it's about staying invisible. Hit subscribe, and let's get into it. 1. Sanitation supplies, the silent lifesaver. When the grid goes down, sanitation isn't just a luxury, it's survival. Soap, toilet paper, toothpaste, and bleach might seem mundane now. But in a blackout, they're the difference between life and death. Modern sanitation systems rely on running water and functioning sewers. When those fail, filth accumulates fast, and with it comes disease. Cholera, dysentery, and other illnesses we've relegated to history books can make a brutal comeback. A simple cut can turn into a life-threatening infection without proper hygiene. But here's the kicker. Staying clean makes you stand out. In a world where everyone else is grimy, your fresh clothes, clean skin, and healthy appearance scream, "I have resources." The scent of soap or the sight of a roll of toilet paper can turn you into a target. Desperate people don't need to be bad people. They just need to be parents with sick kids. The solution? Layered hygiene and discretion. Stockpile essentials like soap, hand sanitizer, and feminine hygiene products, but keep them hidden. For cleaning, use less obvious supplies like diluted bleach solutions. They're effective, but don't scream luxury. Practice hygiene routines out of sight. If you're washing clothes, do it at night or in a concealed area. Avoid hanging fresh laundry where others can see it. Remember, cleanliness isn't just about comfort, it's about survival. But in a collapse, advertising your health is a dangerous game. Stay clean, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay invisible. 2. Salt, sugar, and spices. The hidden gold of flavor. When you think of survival food, bland beans and rice probably come to mind. But here's the truth. Salt, sugar, and spices are more than just flavor enhancers. They're survival essentials. Salt isn't just for seasoning, it's critical for your body to function. Without it, you risk dehydration, muscle cramps, and even organ failure. Historically, salt was a cornerstone of food preservation, keeping meat and fish edible for months. Sugar, on the other hand, is a dense source of calories and a key ingredient in preserving fruit. Spices like garlic powder or cinnamon don't just make food palatable, they boost morale in stressful times. Now imagine this. While everyone else is choking down bland, unseasoned meals, your food smells and tastes like a feast. That's a dead giveaway. The faint aroma of seasoned food or the sight of you enjoying a meal can make you a target. People will wonder what you have that they don't, and they'll want it. To protect yourself, stockpile these items in bulk, but store them smartly. Salt, sugar, and spices have an almost infinite shelf life if kept dry. Repackage them into unassuming containers. A bucket labeled sand or cleaning supplies is far less interesting than one labeled sugar. If you're cooking, keep it low-key. Avoid letting smells waft into the neighborhood. In a blackout, flavor isn't just a luxury, it's a lifeline. But it's a lifeline you need to guard fiercely. Keep your flavorful existence, your family's secret. 3. Vices. The ultimate bartering tools. Alcohol, tobacco, and caffeine. These aren't just vices, they're survival currency. In a world under stress, addiction doesn't take a break. For millions, the craving for a cigarette, a drink, or a cup of coffee will become an overwhelming need. Withdrawal can make people irritable, irrational, and desperate. And in a crisis, desperation is dangerous. These items will skyrocket in value during a blackout. A single cigarette or a shot of whiskey could be worth its weight in gold. But here's the catch. Even if you don't use them, their mere existence can make you a target. A neighbor who remembers you as a smoker or someone who always had a bottle of wine for guests will come knocking. First, they'll ask, then they'll barter. And if things get bad enough, they might try to take. If you choose to stockpile vices, your operational security, OPSEC, must be airtight. These items are for bartering, not for personal use. That advertises your supply. High-proof alcohol is particularly valuable because it's multi-purpose. It can be used as a disinfectant, a pain reliever, or even fuel. Store smaller, easily tradable units like mini liquor bottles or individual cigarette packs. Never conduct trades at your primary location. Always meet in a neutral, secure spot. In a blackout, vices are more than just indulgences. They're power. But power comes with risk. Handle it wisely, or it could cost you everything. 4. Duct tape and fasteners. The fix-it arsenal. When the grid goes down, things break, and they stay broken. A torn backpack, a leaky roof, or a broken tool handle isn't just an inconvenience. It's a threat to your survival. That's where duct tape and fasteners come in. These humble items, duct tape, screws, nails, zip ties, and glues, become priceless in a world without hardware stores. Duct tape, in particular, is a survival miracle. It can patch a tarp, repair a shoe, or even hold a broken tool together. Fasteners like screws and nails are equally critical. They allow you to build, repair, and reinforce. In a blackout, the ability to fix what you have is a superpower. But here's the problem. Being the person who can fix things makes you stand out. The sound of a hammer or the sight of a neatly patched roof signals that you have resources. A neighbor who sees you repairing a fence will wonder what else you have, and they might decide they need it more than you do. To protect yourself, stockpile these items now while they're cheap and available. Invest in multiple rolls of high-quality duct tape and organize a robust kit of assorted fasteners. Store them discreetly. When you need to make a repair, do it quietly and out of sight. If possible, make it look like your belongings are falling apart just like everyone else's. In a blackout, duct tape and fasteners aren't just tools, they're lifelines. But like all lifelines, they're best kept hidden. 5. Pest control, the unseen battle for survival. When the grid goes down, pests become more than just an annoyance. They're a direct threat to your survival. Mice, rats, ants, and other vermin thrive in the chaos of poor sanitation and abandoned food sources. Without proper pest control, your carefully stockpiled food can be destroyed overnight. A single family of mice can chew through a bag of rice, contaminating it with droppings and spreading diseases like hantavirus. Insects, too, can wreak havoc, carrying bacteria and making your living space unbearable. Here's the problem. If your home is pest-free while your neighbors are battling infestations, it's a dead giveaway that you're better prepared. The absence of rats scurrying in your walls or flies buzzing around your trash signals that you've taken steps to protect your supplies. A neighbor struggling to keep pests out of their home will notice that your garden isn't being devoured by slugs or that your food stores remain untouched. That kind of discrepancy can make you a target. The solution is a proactive, multi-layered defense. Start by stockpiling pest control essentials like snap traps, bait stations, and insect repellents. These items are cheap and readily available now but will be worth their weight in gold during a crisis. Create a perimeter around your home and food storage areas using salt, diatomaceous earth, or other natural deterrents. Keep your food in airtight, rodent-proof containers. And practice strict cleanliness to avoid attracting pests in the first place. Winning the war against pests isn't just about having the right tools, it's about using them discreetly. Set traps and bait stations in hidden areas and dispose of any evidence quietly. The goal is to keep your home pest-free without drawing attention to your preparedness. In a blackout, the battle against pests is one you can't afford to lose, but it's also one you can't afford to advertise. 6. Sewing and repair kits. The art of quiet resilience. In a long-term blackout, the ability to repair and maintain your belongings is a skill that separates the prepared from the desperate. Sewing and mending supplies, needles, heavy-duty thread, buttons, and fabric patches might seem old-fashioned, but they're essential for survival. When you can't buy new clothes, shoes, or gear, every rip, tear, or broken seam becomes a potential disaster. A hole in your only warm jacket or a tear in your tent can leave you exposed to the elements, turning a minor inconvenience into a life-threatening problem. But here's the catch. Being the person who can fix things makes you stand out. While others are walking around in tattered clothes held together with duct tape, your family's clothing remains intact. A neighbor who notices a neatly patched pair of pants or a repaired jacket will immediately recognize that you're a planner. They'll assume you have other supplies and they'll want them to avoid becoming a target. Your sewing kit should be robust but discreet. Don't rely on flimsy hotel kits. Invest in heavy-duty needles, upholstery thread, and tools like a speedy stitcher for repairing canvas and leather. Stockpile iron-on patches for quick fixes and learn basic sewing skills now. Knowing how to sew a button or repair a seam is just as important as having the tools to do it. When making repairs, do so out of sight. Avoid drawing attention to your ability to maintain your gear. In a blackout, resilience is key, but it's a quiet resilience that keeps you safe. Your ability to sew and mend is a survival skill, but it's one you should keep under wraps. 7. Baking soda and vinegar. The prepper's power duo. Baking soda and vinegar might seem like humble household items, but in a blackout, they're nothing short of miraculous. These two versatile substances can replace a host of commercial products, making them invaluable for survival. Baking soda can be used as a fire extinguisher for grease fires, a toothpaste alternative, a cleaning abrasive, and even to neutralize odors. Vinegar, on the other hand, is a natural disinfectant, a food preservative, and a powerful cleaning agent. Together, they can unclog drains, clean surfaces, and deodorize your living space. The signs of their usefulness are subtle but telling. Your home smells clean, your drains aren't clogged, and your clothes don't carry the mildew odor that comes from washing in stagnant water. A neighbor who sees you effortlessly clear a drain with a fizzy concoction or notices your spotless living space will realize you have supplies they didn't think to store. That realization can make you a target. To protect yourself, stockpile large quantities of baking soda and vinegar now. They're cheap, have an indefinite shelf life, and can be stored in their original containers. Keep the bulk of your supply hidden away from your primary living areas. Learn their many uses now so you can rely on them when commercial cleaners and chemicals are no longer available. In a blackout, baking soda and vinegar are more than just cleaning agents, they're survival tools. But like all tools, their value lies in how you use them and how well you keep them hidden. Knowledge is power, and in this case, it's the power to maintain your home and health without drawing unwanted attention. 8. Pet food and supplies. Protecting your furry family. Pets are family, and in a crisis, their needs can't be ignored. But here's the harsh reality. Pet food will be one of the first things to disappear from store shelves. A starving pet isn't just heartbreaking, it's a source of immense psychological distress for their owner. That desperation can drive people to extreme measures, especially when they see that your pets are well-fed and healthy. The signs are painfully obvious. Your dog is calm and quiet, while your neighbor's dog is whining or barking from hunger. The sight of your healthy, happy pet is a constant reminder to others of what they've failed to provide for their own. That kind of emotional pain can quickly turn into desperation directed at you. To protect your pets and yourself, stockpile pet food in large, airtight, and rodent-proof containers. Avoid keeping it in the original bags, which are too obvious. Mislabeled buckets, marked as something unappealing like fertilizer or cleaning supplies, are your best bet. Ration the food from the start to make it last longer, and supplement it with safe table scraps when possible. Feed your pets indoors and out of sight. The sound of kibble hitting a bowl or the sight of a well-fed animal can give away your preparedness. In a blackout, your ability to care for your pets is a reflection of your overall readiness. Protect that ability by keeping it invisible. 9. Seeds and tools. The blueprint for self-sufficiency. When the grid goes down, your stockpile of food is a ticking clock. No matter how much you've stored, it will eventually run out. That's why heirloom seeds and basic gardening tools are not just useful, they're essential. These are the keys to long-term survival, allowing you to grow your own food and create a renewable resource. But not all seeds are created equal. Hybrid seeds, while common, often produce sterile plants, meaning you can't save seeds for the next season. Heirloom seeds, on the other hand, are the gold standard. They grow true to type, allowing you to harvest seeds and plant again, season after season. Here's the challenge. A garden is hard to hide. Even a small patch of green in a world of brown is a glaring signal that you have something others don't. Fresh food. The sight of vegetables growing in your yard or the smell of fresh herbs can make you a target. People watching their canned goods dwindle will see your garden as their salvation, and desperation can drive them to take what they need. To protect yourself, start planning now. Avoid planting an obvious garden in your front yard or any highly visible area. Instead, consider container gardening on a hidden patio, balcony, or even indoors near a sunny window. Use vertical gardening techniques or grow plants that blend into the natural environment. Stockpile heirloom seeds that are suited to your climate and store them in a cool, dark, and dry place to ensure their longevity. Don't forget the tools. A sturdy trowel, a hoe, pruning shears, and a watering can are the basics you'll need to maintain your garden. These tools should be simple, durable, and quiet. No noisy power tools that could draw attention. And remember, gardening isn't just about planting seeds. It's about knowing how to nurture them, protect them from pests, and harvest them efficiently. Start learning these skills now, so you're ready when the time comes. In a long-term blackout, the ability to grow your own food isn't just a survival skill, it's a lifeline. But like all lifelines, it's one you need to protect fiercely. Your garden is your future, and it's a future worth keeping hidden. 10. Knowledge and distraction, the invisible lifeline. When the power goes out, the world doesn't just go dark, it goes silent. No internet, no TV, no streaming services. In that void, two things become painfully clear. We've lost access to the vast reservoir of human knowledge, and we're left alone with our thoughts. That's why knowledge and entertainment are critical resources in a blackout. They're not just luxuries, they're survival tools. Knowledge is power, and in a crisis, it's the kind of power that can save lives. How do you purify water? How do you repair a broken generator? How do you identify edible plants in the wild? These aren't questions you want to be Googling when the grid is down. Physical books, manuals, and guides are your best bet. They don't rely on electricity, and they can provide you with the information you need to navigate a world without modern conveniences. Stock up on books about first aid, mechanics, gardening, and survival skills. Don't forget paper maps of your area. GPS won't be an option. But survival isn't just about staying alive, it's about staying sane. That's where entertainment comes in. In a world of darkness and silence, boredom and fear can be just as dangerous as hunger. A deck of cards, a board game, or a good book can provide a much-needed escape. They can keep your mind sharp, your morale high, and your family connected. The sound of laughter over a game of cards or the sight of a child engrossed in a storybook can be a powerful antidote to the despair of a blackout. Here's the catch. Being the person who knows what to do and seems calm under pressure can make you a target. A neighbor who sees the flicker of candlelight and hears the faint sound of laughter might wonder why you're thriving while they're struggling. That curiosity can quickly turn into envy or desperation. To protect yourself, keep your knowledge and entertainment resources discreet. Build a physical library, but store it out of sight. Choose games and activities that don't draw attention. And most importantly, share your knowledge sparingly. In a crisis, the most valuable thing you have isn't your stockpile or your skills, it's the fact that nobody knows you have them. Knowledge and entertainment are the invisible lifelines of survival. They keep you informed, prepared, and sane. But like all lifelines, they're best kept hidden. Bonus point 11. Water filtration and storage, the foundation of survival. Water is life. Without it, survival is measured in days, not weeks. While most people think about stockpiling bottled water, they often overlook the importance of filtration and long-term storage. In a blackout, access to clean water can disappear overnight. Municipal water systems rely on electricity to pump and purify water. When the grid goes down, so does your tap. And if you think you can rely on natural sources like rivers or lakes, think again. Those sources can be contaminated with bacteria, chemicals, or worse. Here's the reality. Having water isn't enough. You need a way to make it safe to drink. That's where water filtration systems come in. A high-quality portable water filter, like a Berkey or Sawyer, can remove bacteria, protozoa, and even some chemicals. But filtration is only part of the equation. You also need a way to store water. Large, food-grade water containers or barrels are essential for long-term storage. Don't forget smaller, portable containers for when you need to move. The giveaway here is subtle, but critical. While others are struggling to find water, you're hydrated and healthy. Your family isn't showing signs of dehydration, and you're not lining up at the nearest emergency water distribution point. A neighbor who sees you carrying a full water container or notices that your garden is thriving despite the drought will start asking questions. That's why operational security, OPSEC, is just as important as the water itself. To protect your water supply, keep your storage discreet. Use opaque containers and store them in a hidden location, like a basement or garage. When filtering water, do it out of sight. And if you're collecting rainwater, make sure your setup isn't obvious. A simple rain barrel can be camouflaged with plants or fencing. Water is the foundation of survival, but it's also a beacon for desperation. Protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. Bonus point 12. Alternative energy sources. Power in the dark. When the lights go out, the world becomes a very different place. Darkness isn't just an inconvenience, it's a vulnerability. That's why having alternative energy sources is a game changer in a blackout. Solar panels, hand crank generators, and rechargeable battery packs can provide you with the power you need to keep essential devices running. But here's the catch. Power is loud, bright, and noticeable. If you're the only house on the block with lights on, you're painting a target on your back. The key to using alternative energy is subtlety. Solar panels are an excellent option because they're silent and renewable. However, they can be a visual giveaway. Consider portable solar chargers that can be set up and taken down as needed. Hand crank generators are another great option for charging small devices like flashlights or radios. They're compact, easy to use, and don't rely on fuel. Speaking of fuel, if you're using a gas-powered generator, be prepared for the noise and smell to attract attention. Use it sparingly and only when absolutely necessary. The signs of power are hard to hide. A neighbor who sees the glow of a light through your window or hears the hum of a generator will know you have resources they don't. That's why it's crucial to manage your energy use carefully. Use blackout curtains to block light from escaping your home. Charge devices during the day when it's less noticeable. And if you're using a generator, position it as far from your home as possible to minimize noise. Alternative energy isn't just about convenience, it's about survival. But like all survival tools, it's only as good as your ability to keep it hidden. In a blackout, power is a luxury that can make you a target. Use it wisely. Bonus point 13. Bartering supplies. The currency of crisis. In a long-term blackout, money loses its value. You can't eat a dollar bill or trade it for a gallon of water. That's why bartering supplies become the new currency in a crisis. Items like lighters, batteries, first aid supplies, and even small bottles of alcohol can be worth their weight in gold. But here's the thing. Bartering is a double-edged sword. While it can help you get what you need, it also reveals what you have. The key to successful bartering is preparation and discretion. Start by stockpiling small, high-value items that are easy to trade. Think about things people will desperately need but might not have thought to store. Lighters and matches are essential for starting fires. Batteries are critical for powering flashlights and radios. First aid supplies like bandages and antiseptic wipes are always in demand. And small bottles of alcohol or packs of cigarettes can be powerful bargaining chips. When it comes to bartering, location matters. Never trade at your home or near your primary storage area. Meet in a neutral, secure location where you can control the environment. Always bring only what you're willing to trade, never your entire stockpile. And be cautious about who you trade with. Desperation can make people unpredictable, and a simple trade can quickly turn into a robbery if you're not careful. The signs of a successful barterer are subtle but telling. You always seem to have what you need, even when others are struggling. A neighbor who notices this might start to wonder where you're getting your supplies. That's why it's crucial to keep your bartering activities under the radar. Don't brag about your trades or let others see what you're carrying. Bartering supplies are a lifeline in a crisis, but they're also a liability if not handled correctly. In a blackout, the ability to trade can mean the difference between survival and scarcity. But like all survival strategies, it's one that requires careful planning and execution. Bonus point 14. Communication tools. Staying connected in isolation. When the grid goes down, communication becomes one of the first casualties. Cell towers stop working. The internet goes dark and suddenly you're cut off from the world. In a crisis, not knowing what's happening around you can be just as dangerous as the event itself. That's why having reliable communication tools is a critical part of your survival strategy. Radios are your best bet for staying informed. A battery-powered or hand-crank emergency radio can keep you updated on weather alerts, government broadcasts, and local news. For two-way communication, consider walkie-talkies or ham radios. These tools allow you to stay in touch with family members or coordinate with a trusted group. But here's the catch. Communication can be a double-edged sword. Broadcasting your location or capabilities can make you a target. The signs of someone with communication tools are subtle but noticeable. While others are in the dark, you seem to know what's going on. You're calm, prepared, and making informed decisions. A neighbor who notices this might start to wonder how you're getting your information, and they'll want access to it. To protect yourself, keep your communication tools discreet. Use headphones with your radio to avoid broadcasting alerts to those around you. If you're using a ham radio, keep transmissions short and avoid sharing personal details. And always have a backup plan. Stockpile extra batteries, solar chargers, or hand-crank generators to keep your devices running. In a blackout, information is power. But like all forms of power, it's best used quietly. Stay informed, stay connected, and most importantly, stay under the radar. Bonus point 15. Medical supplies, the life-saving stockpile. In a long-term blackout, access to medical care can become a luxury. Hospitals and clinics rely on electricity to function, and without it, their ability to provide care is severely limited. That's why having a well-stocked medical kit is not just a good idea, it's a necessity. From treating minor injuries to managing chronic conditions, your medical supplies could mean the difference between life and death. A basic first aid kit is a good start, but it's not enough. You'll need to go beyond Band-Aids and antiseptic wipe. Stock up on items like gauze, medical tape, and sterile gloves. Pain relievers, antihistamines, and anti-inflammatory medications are also essential. If you or a family member has a chronic condition, make sure you have an adequate supply of prescription medications. And don't forget about over-the-counter remedies for common ailments like colds, stomach issues, and allergies. The signs of someone with medical supplies are hard to hide. While others are struggling with untreated injuries or illnesses, you and your family remain healthy and functional. A neighbor who notices this might start to ask questions or worse, demand help. That's why operational security is just as important as the supplies themselves. To protect your medical stockpile, keep it hidden and organized. Store medications in a cool, dry place, and rotate them regularly to ensure they don't expire. Learn basic first aid skills now, so you're prepared to handle emergencies without drawing attention. And if you do need to help someone, do it discreetly. The last thing you want is to become the neighborhood medic in a crisis. Your health is your most valuable asset. Protect it with a robust medical stockpile, and protect that stockpile with careful planning and discretion. Bonus point 16. Fire starting tools. Igniting survival. Fire is one of humanity's oldest survival tools, and in a blackout it becomes indispensable. Whether you're cooking food, purifying water, or staying warm, the ability to start a fire is a skill you can't afford to overlook. But here's the thing. Fire is also one of the most visible and noticeable signals of preparedness. A neighbor who sees smoke rising from your chimney or smells food cooking over an open flame will know you have resources and they'll want them. To prepare, stockpile a variety of fire-starting tools. Lighters and matches are obvious choices, but they're not enough. Invest in fire starters like magnesium blocks, ferro rods, and waterproof matches. These tools are reliable, long-lasting, and work in all weather conditions. Don't forget about tinder. Cotton balls soaked in petroleum jelly, dryer lint, or commercial fire-starting cubes are all excellent options. The signs of someone with fire-starting tools are hard to miss. While others are shivering in the cold or eating cold, unappetizing meals, you're warm and well-fed. A neighbor who notices this might start to wonder how you're managing, and they'll want in on your secret. To protect yourself, use fire discreetly. If you're cooking, do it in a sheltered area where the smoke and smell are less likely to attract attention. Use a rocket stove or other efficient cooking device that minimizes smoke. And if you're using fire for warmth, consider alternatives like insulated clothing or blankets to reduce your reliance on open flames. Fire is a powerful survival tool, but it's also a beacon. Use it wisely, and always be mindful of who might be watching. In a blackout, the ability to start a fire is a skill that can keep you alive, but only if you can keep it hidden.